श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम्। ओम सहनाववतु सहनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। So yesterday we saw shakti yadvat abhedah sarvada sthitah atah tad dharma dharmitvat parashakti paratmanah. So shakti shaktimat abhedah, the power and the wielder of power is seen as identical, like it is seen as identical always everywhere. Therefore, since it is seen as identical, therefore this has the same attributes as that. Shakti has, or Shiva has the same attributes of Para, or Para has the same attributes of Shiva. Para is Shakti. Okay. So Para has the same attributes as Bhairava. Therefore, Dharmi means that which has Dharma is Dharmi. So Dharmas, the qualities, the attributes. So since it is, they have the same attributes, therefore Paratmana Parashakti. This is the power of the Bhairava. Paratmana means Bhairava. So this we saw that there is no difference between the Bhairava and Bhairavi. Okay. Now next, here he is, from here he is giving in the next 3 shlokas 3 different examples. vahnerdāhikā śaktiḥ vyatiriktā vibhāvyate kevalaṃ jñānasattāyāṃ prārambho'yaṃ praveśane. Na vannehe dāhikā śaktiḥ vyatiriktā vibhāvyate kevalaṃ jñānasattāyāṃ prārambho'yaṃ praveśane. Vannehe dāhikā śakti, the power of heat, the heat power of the fire, vyatiriktā na vibhāvyate, is not perceived to be different from the fire itself. The heat fire has 2 properties, 2 powers. One is power of heat and the other is power of light. Now the effulgence is not taken here, because even for a person who has his eyes blindfolded, or who doesn't have his eyes, can experience the heat of the fire. So that is what is accepted in the first example. Okay, dāhikā śakti. Now this is what is called as karya karana ananyatva. Similar idea is presented here. Shakti shaktimato avedat is karya karana ananyatva. Meaning the cause and effect are not different. Wait, the cause and effect are not different. If you say the cause and effect are identical, if you say, then there is a confusion. Why do we call it cause and effect? Because they are not different, right? So what we say is, apart from the cause, there is nothing called effect. Apart from the cause, there is nothing which can be called as effect. Whatever you see as effect is an illusion. That is the idea. Okay. So here kevalaṃ jñānasattāyāṃ prārambho'yaṃ praveśane. Jñānasattāyāṃ ayam prārambhah praveśane prārambhah. This is for the understanding, recognition. Praveśane means for recognizing. This is prārambha. This is the means. The meaning of the shloka is like the power, the power of heat of fire is not different from the fire itself. Similarly, this power, the knowledge and the existence, this is the means for understanding the Bhairava. Okay. So with this we establish the identity, abheda siddhi. Okay. Na vibhāvyate. What does na vibhāvyate means? Even though you inquire into it, you will not be able to establish it to be different. You can do any much of inquiry, as much as possible you can do inquiry, but you cannot establish the power and the wielder of power, the power and the owner of power to be different. Jñānasattāyāṃ, if you are interested in understanding the power, the fire and its heat, then the knowledge of fire, the knowledge of heat, etc., existence of fire, existence of heat, etc., through that, whatever you understand, recognize that this is what is the fire, this heat power is what is the fire, etc., through which you understand the fire. That is the prārambha, that is the means. Only through that you will be able to understand. See, the Shiva's power is, Bhairava's power is Shakti. What does Shakti mean actually? The creation takes place because of spandana. Spanda means a vibration. So this vibration is called as Shakti, because of whom all this vimarsha, this expansion, this creation comes into existence. So Shiva is wielder of power, Shakti is the power through which you create things. Where there is wielder and there is Shakti. In everything, like fire has heat. Fire has heat as its power. With heat you cook. Now you cook different things. This smells. This is a pizza. This is pasta. This is a sambar. This is rasam. You smell different. They are all foods actually. But because of the smell, they are given different name and different form. They look in different form, right? So the name and form differs, but they are all food. Basically, they are all cooked with fire. So similarly here also, the Shakti, it manifests all these varied wielders and the powers and shows it to be different. In reality, it is not. How to explain that? Again, flower. You say this is rose, this is jasmine, this is this is that. They are all basically flower. All the other ideas, because of the spell and because of the form, you superimpose. Okay. A better example is an example which I read a long back. There is this kid and a gentleman traveling in a flight or car or train or whatever it is. They are traveling together. They don't know each other. They are traveling next to each other. They are sitting. Now, this fellow is an atheist. And that kid was painting or reading some book on God. An atheist, they want to impose, they want to show their atheism. So this fellow, he said, okay, see, we have a long way to travel, 8 hours, 10 hours. If we, or 4, 5 hours, whatever it is. If we converse, then the travel time will be short. Like we won't realize that it is we have traveled so much. That is why I'm reading anyway. Okay, let's converse. What do you want to converse? Converse on God. Okay, good. I'll ask a question before that. This kid said, I'll ask a question before that. You answer, then we'll start conversing. We'll have a dialogue. Okay. See, grass is the food. You have cow, you have goat, you have donkey which eats the same grass. Okay. The milk is different. The quality of milk is different. Cow's milk is different from goat's milk. It's different from donkey's milk. They have different properties. They all eat the same grass. Forget about the milk. They look same, but they have different properties. The milk has different properties. They look same, similar. Forget about that. Their dung, cow dung and all the other things, they all have different forms. They eat the same food, but they generate different things. How is that? This fellow was stumped. He could not answer. It's like, what's the question? Where did this come from? So this kid said, you don't know shit. Then how can you talk about? So that is what it is. The input is same, but the output is different, whether it's milk or the dung. That in between activity is called a shakti. That is what is written in Pratyabhijñā, saying phalabhedād āropita vedaha padarthatma shaktiḥ. Phalabhedād, because of the difference in the result, you superimpose a new padartha, a new substance called shakti. Shakti is a substance. They accept it as a substance. Okay. Now, here the next shloka for this introduction, Shemaraja calls this as a darshtanta. Drishtanta means example, darshtanta means exemplified. Shemaraja calls it darshtanta. But this is also another example, drishtanta only. Because everywhere you explain it with reference to the exemplified. So here also this is another example. How we will see. śaktyavasthāpraviṣṭasya nirvibhāgena bhāvanā tadāsau śivarūpī syāt śaivī mukhamihocyate. śaktyavasthāpraviṣṭasya nirvibhāgena bhāvanā tadāsau śivarūpī syāt śaivī mukhamihocyate. If you want to see it as exemplified, then śaktyavasthāpraviṣṭasya, one who has entered the nature of Shakti, nirvibhāgena bhāvanā, in where there is a non-duality, a state of non-duality, tada, at that point of time, asau śivarūpī syāt. This Shakti is of the form of Shiva, is of the nature of Shiva. Śaivī mukhamihocyate, that is why we call Shakti to be the means for understanding Shiva. Okay, if you accept this as darshtanta, this is how you have to explain. But since this is also example in the previous shloka, we accepted abheda siddhi, establishing the identity. Here we establish the means, dvara siddhi we call it. Okay, how? śaktyavasthāpraviṣṭasya, śaktyavasthāpraviṣṭasya. Shakti, power, avastha, states, praviṣṭasya, that which has entered. Having entered different states, the power having entered different states. Power enters, manifests itself in different states. This we see in every place. Like you have clay. From clay, you make pot, you make plate. They are basically clay. Shakti, the clay, transforms itself into different forms. Or Shakti, the cause, transforming itself into the different forms of creation. Okay? śaktyavasthāpraviṣṭasya. Nirvibhāgena, seeing the identity in all the different states, pot, plate, etc. or clay. The whole creation is nothing but a Shakti. Seeing the identity in all the dualities, that when you do, tadāsau śivarūpī syāt. When you see the identity in all the commonality, the identity in all the creation, in all the different forms, that is the nature of Shiva. Then he becomes of the nature of Shiva. That is why the means is Shakti. The means is Shakti. But Shakti is the intermediate, right? How is the external world called as can be means? Power and the wielder of power is not different. And Shakti is the power which is the cause for all the creation. Shiva is the power, wielder of power for Shakti. Shakti is the power, wielder of power for all the creation. Okay, in that form. So since she is not different from, she is identical with the creation, through the creation you understand the Shiva. Through identifying with everything in the creation, you understand the Shiva. Okay? Now, Parashakti in śaktyavasthāpraviṣṭasya means śaktyavasthāpraviṣṭasya. Praviṣṭasya means enter, having entered. Having entered. Praveśane earlier he said. Here praviṣṭasya. Pravesha, praviṣṭa, entering here does not mean entering, because if you accept it to be entering, then there is a place before entering and there is a place after entering. There is duality. So we have to understand entering here means pratyabhijñā, recognition. Recognizing that your inherent nature is Shiva. Okay? So that is what it is. So nirvibhāgena bhāvanā, seeing the identity between Shakti and Shiva, that is nirvibhāga, that is the attributeless state, changeless state. Then he becomes of the nature of Shiva. That is why Shivasya iyam, Shakti means, śaivī means Shivasya iyam. This is of Shiva, śaivī. This is of Brahma, Brahmi. This is of Vishnu, Vaishnavi. Okay? So, Shivasya iyam, śaivī. Brahmana iyam, Brahmi. Vishnave iyam, Vishnoho iyam, Vaishnavi. Like that you have to understand. Okay? So, mukham means a praveśane, that means to understand identity. That is mukham. Mukham is face generally. Here mukham means the means to understand it. Okay? Now, after establishing the means, now in the third shloka, he is establishing the absence of any other pramana. Pramanantara abhava siddhi. Meaning you don't depend upon any other pramana. See. yathālokena dīpasya kiraṇairbhāskarasya jñāyate digvibhāgādi tadvacchaktyā śivaḥ priye. Now, this shloka has two examples. Actually, they are one examples in different. There's two different examples given to establish the same thing. That's one example actually. We'll understand. yathālokena dīpasya kiraṇairbhāskarasya ca jñāyate digvibhāgādi tadvacchaktyā śivaḥ priye. Dīpasya yatha dīpasya ālokena, like through the light, the lamp, or like the sun's rays, like the lamp's light or the sun's rays, digvibhāgādi jñāyate, you understand the direction, etc. Tadvad, similarly, śaktya śivaḥ priye. Through the Shakti, you understand the Shiva. How? See, you have a lamp. You have the sun. You say the sun rises in east, sets in west, so north, east, south, etc. You understand through the sunrise and sunset. The moment the rays hit the object, you say, okay, that object is here and all. You see the objects, you see the directions, etc. also. This is not all. You also recognize that the sun exists through the rays. Similarly, through the lamp, the light of the lamp, you see the different objects. Not just that, you understand that the lamp is lit. You understand that also. You don't depend upon another light for seeing the lamp or for seeing the sun. That is why Shruti very clearly says, Tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhāti, because of its effulgence, everything else is illumined. They also gain the shadow effulgence and they also illumine other things. Okay, so jñāyate digvibhāgādi, they reflect, that's all. They reflect the effulgence, that's all. Like the mirror. Jñāyate digvibhāgādi tadvacchaktyā śivaḥ. So here he says, like lamp, etc. You see the different tadvacchaktyā. Tadvacchaktyā means what is the Shakti we talk about here is Spuratta. Shakti, the power here is with respect to the lamp, the light. With respect to the sun, the rays. Here, spuratta is the word used. Spuratta. Spuratta is explained as sa spuratta mahasatta. In pratyabhijñā it is said sa spuratta mahasatta or spanda tattva, etc. They are all same. Meaning spanda tattva, the vibration, the one which vibrates, the one which helps you to recognize. Spuratta has different meanings in different contexts. The sprout which comes from the seed, sprout, from sprout, it emerges from the seed, right? That's sprout. We are not talking about that kind of spuratta. Why? Because for a seed to manifest as sprout, you don't just need the seed. You also need the time, place, etc. It should be in a proper season. It should be in a proper climate. You cannot place it the seed in summer, which should be planted in winter, or you cannot put it in the area where it is hot. You cannot have apples here in South India. So time, place, causation depends upon everything. You need to give water, give it nourishment, different kinds of nourishments, etc. So it is dependent upon, for the seed to sprout, it depends upon multiple varied things. Shiva is not dependent upon anything for creation. That the spandana is enough. It does not depend upon anything. So spuratta, spandana is not an activity like the seed sprout, but it is the experience, existence. It's the experience, existence. Okay. Now here we have established through 3 examples 3 different things. Now he says, okay, this is what is the nature of Shiva. Shiva is of the nature of experience. He exists in everything. You can understand him through everything. Good. So what are you going to do? Now Devi Bhairavi has a doubt. Doubt is she understood what is the nature of Shiva. What is the nature of Bhairava? She wants to understand, experience that Bhairava. So she is asking the means for that in the next 2.5 shlokas. Devadeva triśūlāṅka kapālakṛtabhūṣaṇa digdeśakālaśūnyā vyapadeśavivarjitā yāvasthā bharitākārā bhairavasyopalabhyate kairupāyirmukham tasya parādevi katham bhavet yatha samyakaham vedmi tatha me brūhi bhairava. He devadeva, he triśūlāṅka, he kapālakṛtabhūṣaṇa digdeśakālaśūnyā vyapadeśavivarjitā yāvasthā bharitākārā bhairavasya upalabhyate kaihi upaihi mukham tasya parādevi katham bhavet yatha samyakaham vedmi tatha me brūhi bhairava. He devadeva, O Lord of Lords, triśūlāṅka, one who holds the trident, kapālakṛtabhūṣaṇa, one who has the ornament of skulls, digdeśakālaśūnyā, vyapadeśavivarjitā, one who is devoid of the directions, time, etc., and one who is one who cannot be explicitly said through words, pointed out through words. One is not an object of words. Yāvasthā bharitākārā, that state which is holding on to everything, that of Bhairava. Through what means? Kairupāyir mukham tasya. What is the means for understanding that? How do I understand that? Paradevi katham bhavat? How do I become the Paradevi, Bhairava? Yatha samyakam vedmi. In a way I understand clearly. Tatha me bruhi. Please tell me in that which way, on that very way. Oh Bhairava. That is the question. That is what Devi is asking. Now, devadeva. That's a vocative. Devadeva. Hey, devanam devaha devadeva. Devadeva means a Lord of Lords. That is the idea. Deva is a word from Deva generally means deity, God. Deva is a word from divu prakashane, the root word divu prakashane. Dyotana Devaha. Because of being effulgent, he is called as Deva. So all those effulgent things like Brahma, Vishnu, etc., they are all Devas. So one who is giving effulgence to them is the Devadeva. Because tasya bhasa sarvamidam bhati. Because of his effulgence, everyone become effulgent. Okay? Devadeva. Triśūlāṅka. Shula means Trishula means trident. Shula is a pointed weapon. Any pointed weapon is Shula. Trishula, trident. Here, Trishula, Shula also means death. That to bring something to end, samhara. So, he is one who brings the creation etc. to an end, or the fear of the troubles of adhyatma, adhidevika, adibhautika to an end. So that is the trident. Okay. Now, or who holds to the jñānasattāyāṃ, iccāsakti and kriyāsakti, trident. That can also be trident. Okay. Because he is holding that weapon in his hand. So, bharitākārā, one who holds that. One who is in the form holding that weapon. So, bharitākārā. And kapālakṛtabhūṣaṇa, one who has the ornament of kapala, can be seen in two ways. One, he holds on to a kapala as his begging bowl. This is a story which I already said for Bhikshatana, when he plucked the head of Brahmaji. When Brahmaji had 5 heads also, he was egotistical. So to remove his ego, Shiva plucked one of his heads, and Brahmaji gave him a curse saying, let it not drop off from your hand. So it got stuck to his hand and it became a ornament for him. Oh, Bhairava kind of. Or like we wear Rudraksha etc., Shiva uses skull mala, a garland of skulls. Krita bhushana. He is not having any ornaments of gold or silver or diamonds, but he is wearing an ornament of a skull. Okay. Now, digdeśakāla. Digdesha. Dig means directions. Desha means the place. Comparative. I said it. With reference to that, this is before. With reference to that, that is afterwards, etc. That is Desha. Dik means directions. East, west, north, south. And in betweens. Kala, time. Past, present, future, etc. So all these different varieties, what you see in the world, shunya, devoid of those kind of with vyapadeśavivarjitā means it cannot be defined. Shiva cannot be defined with reference to these directions, etc. You cannot say, oh, Shiva is one who exists in south, one who resides in north. No, you cannot refer to him with the directions. Or Shiva is before that or after this. You cannot say. Or Shiva exists in this period and not in that period. You cannot say. So he is devoid of any kind of association with these kind of attributes. Okay. Śaktiḥ bharitākārā bhairavasya uparabhyate. So that bhairavas, whichever form which is holding on to everything, all these different kinds of shakti, of directions, etc. These are all shakti. So that kair upayaihi, upayaihi, kena upayena it should be. Instead of kena upayena, which mean what is the means? He is asking kaihi upayaihi, what are the means? So by using upayaihi, kaihi upayaihi in plural, he definitely refers to multiple different options to understand the truth. What are the different possibilities? Now we saw in the beginning the different sets of upayas: prana, deha, buddhi, shunya, ashraya, uchara, karana, dhyana, varna, sthana, kalpana, etc. Different kinds of ashrayas. So through whichever ashraya, through whichever resort, you can understand that truth. So what is that? Or multiple, the plural can also refer to the basic four means: Anavupaya, Śaktiḥ, Śambhavupaya, and Anupaya. Anavupaya using the different means, Śaktiḥ little subtler, Śambhavupaya very subtler, and Anupaya very little effort. Okay, so these four means can also be referred with upayaihi, plural. Mukham means the means. So śaivī mukham, śaivī is the Shiva, Shakti is the dwara, the means for understanding the Shiva. We saw that. So please tell me, yathāham vedmi tatha bhairava bruhi. As I understand it, please tell me, Bhairava. Here understanding is as I become identical with that truth. Please tell me. Please tell me in that way that I become identical with that truth. I become identical with the Bhairava. So that is what is the question of a Bhairavi. Now, from here, Bhairava starts giving different upayas. We will see it. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.